Is the US dollar dying, or are we seeing just another round of the usual internet doomer corn that happens every time the dollar index drops? Damn doomer bears. You've probably seen the headlines, BRICS is rising, China and Russia are ditching the dollar, central banks are stacking gold, whispers of a new world order. Is this real de-dollarization? Is the world about to dump the dollar to zero? Or just more noise in a very loud room? You're really gonna bet against America? Gonna bet against the dollar? Let's cut through the chaos in this video. Get real about what's actually happening to the world's reserve currency. But first, quick rewind. The US dollar became the global reserve currency in 1944. After World War II, 44 nations met at Bretton Woods and agreed to ditch gold, peg their currencies to the dollar. Since then, most global trade, especially for oil, has been priced in US dollars. You've probably heard the term petrodollar because of that. Countries need dollars. Banks hoard dollars. Banks hoard US treasuries redeemable for dollars, and the US gets a fat privilege. They can just basically print as much money as the world demands whenever it wants and run insane deficits. It's like having a credit card that everyone else pays off until they don't want to anymore. Now, here's where things get spicy. Thanks to Trump's trade wars, the US dollar has weakened. Now, Trump wanted a weaker dollar. This may be part of the plan to get a weaker dollar, but the dollar index has fallen from 104 to 99. That doesn't sound big, maybe not in points anyway, but it's massive in vibes. It signals that global faith in the US dollar has been wobbling. You better believe the rest of the world is watching. Suddenly, there's more talk than ever about a multipolar world. Every time the DXY falls a few percent, BRICS is coming! But that multipolar world is one where the US loses its dominance and other nations rise, and people don't demand US dollars as much anymore. I mean, China and Russia are already doing energy deals in yuan rubles and, yes, Bitcoin. You heard that right, and in Bitcoin. Hedge funds are shorting the dollar. The BRICS nations are building their own payment systems outside of the Western-led SWIFT system. Central banks are dumping US treasuries, and they're buying gold. Nobody wants to buy US debt. At least not many of the sovereigns do right now. It's not an overnight collapse. Nothing ever happens overnight. It's more like a slow engineered decay. Is it all by design? Maybe. A weaker dollar does help strengthen a lot of things in the USA, ironically. There's a term those Wall Street suits whisper that most people don't know, and that's the Triffin Dilemma. If the USA wants to supply enough dollars to the world, it has to run trade deficits, meaning imports way more than it exports. But doing that weakens the domestic economy. More debt, more printing, more inequality. Eventually, two problems emerge. Foreign nations question the dollar's stability, and American voters start doubting the system's fairness. So that's a bit of a catch-22. If the dollar stays king, the empire rots from within. If the dollar gets healthy, the dollar loses its global dominance, and the US can't keep running these disgusting deficits. It's the reserve currency with basically a built-in self-destruct button. Now zoom out, every major empire has its rise and its golden age and its inevitable decline. The Spanish Empire, the French Empire, the British Empire, the American Empire, and dozens of empires before those all the way back to the Romans and the Greeks, man. Ray Dalio's research shows that those cycles last around 250 years before collapsing under the weight of debt, internal division, and military overreach every damn time. When are we gonna learn our lesson, guys? And guess what? America's right on schedule, man. Now before we get into that, protect yourself. Protect your wealth. World's a crazy place. Fiat currencies are all going to damn zero. And guess what? Stop the government from stealing as much of your money as possible. Use iTrust, today's sponsor. Okay, these guys are going to let you have a retirement account where you can wrap your crypto trading. So you can trade Bitcoin or Ethereum, Solana, whatever as much as you want. You're not going to hit any taxable events, meaning more money in your pocket at the end of the day. Okay? Plus, they've got a huge range of coins. They're 24/7, 365, unlike Bitcoin ETFs, of course. And they even have a partnership with Kitco, allowing you to get real gold, real silver, physical bullion, and even in the future, you can put those coins in your pocket. So not only can you get the gold and stuff real, but you can also put the Bitcoin in your own wallet, in your own pocket with in-kind withdrawals on offer as well. Use the link down below. Find out how iTrust can help you save big time on your tax bill. And you can get a $100 bonus for signing up. Check it out, link down below. Thank you for supporting our sponsors. So, the American Empire, let's go. The American Empire was born in 1776. Fast forward 249 years. Ray Dalio said 250. 249 years, where are we now? Let's do a quick vibe check. Polarized society, tick. Exploding debt, got that one. Widespread distrust in government and media, got it. Financial system on life support, yep. Textbook declining empire energy, man. Now, the dollar isn't just facing external threats, it's also caught inside a house fire of internal chaos. But the good news is the dollar isn't dead yet. And there's a lot of things the USA can do to extend the dominance of the dollar globally for decades to come, like supporting stable coins. Yes, the DXY is falling and dominance is slipping, but the US dollar is still the top dog for now. But all top dogs get old and get eaten by the younger dog. Direction matters. Other nations aren't sprinting away from the dollar. They're kind of slowly tiptoeing away, diversifying slowly and strategically into other things. They're packing their bags just in case. Maybe we should have a little more gold in our central bank reserves. Maybe we can't trust the Americans as much as we thought we could. Massive macro changes like this happen slowly over time. These are gargantuan markets. Most people don't notice until it's too late, of course, but maybe this time we'll notice. Maybe the war isn't coming because it's already here, just not with bombs. We're in the middle of a capital war, a currency war, an information war, a technological war, a covert World War III designed to avoid a hot conflict, because nobody wants nuclear war. Nobody wins that, everybody loses. But you can win an economic war, as long as it doesn't turn into a hot war. So this cold version, or economical, financial, digital war, maybe that's what it's all about. And once Trump's rolling all this craziness, maybe it wasn't to win the trade wars. Maybe it was to shrink America's global footprint, to weaken the dollar, accelerate the shift to a multipolar world where the USA doesn't have to foot so much of the bill for global security and all that kind of stuff, consolidate Wall Street's power, leaving Main Street to burn. When is Wall Street ever going to shit about anybody else? Now follow the money. What are the central banks actually doing? They're not rushing into yuan. They're not rushing into euros, man. They're buying gold. Quietly but aggressively. Central banks have been net buyers of gold since 2009. 2024 is a record year with over 1,000 tons of gold added to central bank reserves around the world. Why? Because gold's neutral. Unlike the US dollar, gold's outside the system. Gold in a vault in Beijing or Moscow is gold in a vault that you own. When you have dollars in a bank somewhere, it can be frozen, confiscated, all that BS. There's no counterparty risk to gold when you have it in your own country's vault. This is where Bitcoin is quietly entering the group chat. Hey guys, what's up? The world's largest credit rating agency, S&P Global, has said Bitcoin is becoming an uncorrelated asset because it's decentralized, geopolitically neutral, and could hedge currency debasement. Again, oil is starting to be traded using Bitcoin between some of the world's more, let's say, nations that aren't in the cool kids club. A Coinbase exec also let it slip on CNBC that the pools of capital have been buying during April are sovereign wealth funds, large institutional players, long-term duration pools of capital. Why? Because these big buyers of Bitcoin are looking at it in three different ways. A de-dollarization trade to hedge against a weaker USD, which generally when the USD is weaker, by the way, Bitcoin tends to shine. The unwinding of the levered tech stock trade as it's no longer seen as a high growth asset, and long-term inflation hedges, especially those who missed the gold rally. Now, BlackRock's US head of equity ETFs has confirmed this by telling CNBC that Bitcoin should actually be viewed as an asset that's uncorrelated to US tech stocks over the long term. Short term, we can see lots of correlation. We've seen that before, but over the long term, where's Bitcoin going? It's going for the digital gold narrative. Bitcoin is slowly stepping into gold's shoes. It's scarcer than gold, it's verifiable, easier to transfer, all that kind of stuff. And the smart money's noticing. Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, one of the most powerful humans on the planet, is regularly shilling Bitcoin. Lets you know where we are. Be honest here, the hedge of Bitcoin is looking smarter every year. So what's it all mean for you? Do you ditch your dollars entirely? No, it's not practical. The world still runs on dollars, ... for now. But when uncertainty increases, diversify. It's no longer conspiracy theory territory. The signs are everywhere. Governments are over-leveraged, central banks are hedging, global alliances are shifting. Inflation is still eating your purchasing power. If you have all your money sitting in dollars for the long term, you're in a tough situation. Diversified portfolios end up winning in the long term. You can hold some gold. I like gold, but you better damn well have some Bitcoin. Don't get caught holding the bag while elites quietly exit the burning building. When I say holding the bag on fiat, okay? Because that's what they want. They're going to have all the assets. You're going to have a bunch of paper. Don't panic. Protect your ass. Make sure you got some BTC in a wallet somewhere, okay, guys? That's it. Thanks for watching.